Today I'm installing a Simpson Partners EV charging point, and I thought I'd make this video because I haven't installed one of these before, so I thought we'd do it together and hopefully you'll get an insight into what it's like installing one of these for the first time. And I'm kind of doing this really because I know a lot of people haven't installed a lot of chargers. I've installed hundreds, just not this one. So I thought hopefully if I do this I can show you the ins and outs, and if I make any mistakes I'm just going to show you it, show you how to commission it. I don't know how to do any of this yet, so if I make all the mistakes now you can watch this video, hopefully learn from it, so when you go and do yours, your installation will be a lot smoother than what mine's going to be. So I've skipped ahead a little bit on this job because I've put a new board up, as you can see there, and I've ran an EV Ultra cable which is just hanging there in a minute. The reason I've done that is we've all seen that. I know that's not what this video is about, it's all about the charger, so you can see where it's set up, and I'll answer a couple of questions that I know are heading my way straight away. We have an existing consumer unit here. The reason I haven't used this is a couple of reasons. One, I don't really like combustible consumer units. Two, there's no surge protection. Three, the RCDs in there are type AC. Yes, I can install all of this, but I also always give my customer the option of having a separate consumer unit purely for the EV charging point, and they've gone for it, so there's nothing wrong with that. So in this fuse box consumer unit, it's all ready to go really. It's livened up here. EV Ultra cables are ferruled up, CT connections are ready to go. So we're just going to get that box opened, check it out, see what it's like, and we'll take it from there. So this is the Simpson Partners EV Charger, and one thing I noticed straight away is the packaging is very nice. And it comes inside, you've got this customer welcome pack, which has got some card in it. We'll find out what that's for later. And it's got an installer's welcome pack. So I haven't looked at this yet. I haven't looked at anything here because I wanted just to go through this with you. So I'll have a read of this. Seems to be a good little install manual. And then in here, we've gone for metal grey front cover and a black metal lid. Looks very nice. Little box here says important bits. Don't know what's in that yet, but this is the charger. Oh, and there is the charging port. This is an untethered model, 7 kilowatts. Got a back entry there, that's what we're going to be using today. So I'm going to have a quick read of the installer's guide, see what it's all about. I've done the installer training anyway, ages ago, I just haven't installed one. So I'm going to have a good read of that, and then we'll take the charger apart, get it mounted, get the EV Ultra cable in. And the other thing about working on a new charger for the first time is, we all know if you've installed any charger, you know the connections are the same, that's fine. It's always the commissioning bit and the setting up bit that's problematic, and obviously you don't want to embarrass yourself in front of your client if they think you're an experienced installer or if you've done loads of these. So what I've done on this job and what I suggest you do is honesty is the best policy. My client knows that I've installed hundreds of EV chargers because it's all over the internet, and I've been honest and I said I haven't installed a Simpson Partners one before. I'd like to make a video on it to show other people how to do it, see the mistakes or whatever, see how it goes. A little bit of a review is absolutely fine with that. So that also gives me a bit of breathing space when we go to the app and setting all that sort of stuff up. So my client expects me to not know everything about it. We can just run through it together, get it set up. So just be honest, honesty is the best policy. Just because it's your first one doesn't mean it's going to be a terrible install. So I've had a good read through this manual and we're going to follow the manufacturer's instructions to the point, apart from the first bit. The first bit says to download the app and you get a unique installer pin with this, which I won't share with you. So it says to do that first of all, but I'm going to do that last, get the install done, and then we'll go back to that because that's just to do with the commissioning side of things. Specifications on installation, it's got to be between 750 and 120 high. So we're just going to follow that exactly. It's got to be mounted on a solid surface. It's got 2 entries, back entry and bottom entry. You've got to drill these out yourself, and it says that it comes with a compression gland, so that's great. I always like using those on back entry, and it looks like you can put it in from the front so you can still mount it flush. So that's fine. So I get all my words mixed up. Otherwise, it looks like a pretty basic installation so far. So I'm just going to get cracking, get it marked up, get that hole drilled through the wall, get the EV Ultra through, and let's get this done. Okay, I'm going to take this out of the box and see if we can get the lid off it. Got some green paint off the box there, but that's rubbed off, so that's all right. You've got to check all these for markings. It says you've got 7 days basically to check it and get it back. So I've got a couple of screws there. I'm going to take them off, and then this front plate should just slide off. So we do that first of all. I've got lots of little screws on this, so we're going to have to make sure we don't lose those for sure. Make sure you undo the screws properly. I clearly haven't. This is one of those things you just need to get the knack of, obviously. There we go. So that's the cover off. And then this is what it looks like inside. So I believe we've got 4 screws to undo. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll get them off next. Also, these little screws here on the bottom, they're captive. So it doesn't look like I have to worry about losing them. So that's good, because there's nothing worse than losing tiny little screws, especially if you're doing it over gravel or dirt, which I'm not, so it's fine. These other little screws are not captive, just drop them. So I'm gonna put them in a safe place immediately. I'm gonna refer to the manual one. So it doesn't tell you how to get it off, but it tells you how to put it on, so that's great. But it says it should just come off. So why am I being so special about this? There's another tiny little screw here. Better take that one out as well then. And that's the front cover off. So here you can see the 2 cable entries there and there. So we're going to go back entry into there, put a stuffing gland in there. Let's have a look at this fixing kit, see what we've got. So we've got a little box here, it says important bits on. 25mm stuffing gland and the CT and a 16mm gland, which I've already installed in my consumer unit, so that's a nice little spare for me. And there's 3 mounting points. I think there's one there, and there's one just in the middle there. And it doesn't come with fixings, but it did say that it come with washers. So where are they? Okay, so in that pack, there's 3 tiny little washers in with the gland, if you can see that. So you've got to make sure you install those for that ingress protection. I'm using my trusty little Milwaukee drill again. Because I keep getting my words mixed up, it's a bad habit of mine. I end up having to edit out loads of footage. So, because I keep calling this Makita, I'm going to call it Millie instead. Millie, because that's easier for me to remember. So Millie, the Milwaukee drill, that's what it's called. So I'm going to put a 25mm hole in the back, in the bottom of this. Measure where I want it. So that's the top and centre of where the charger's going to go. So we're getting the old Gary Neville out, mark her up. And I'm also going to mark my cable entry hole now as well. I want this to fall on the brickwork really, to get a better fixing. And this wall, the brick, sometimes it's difficult, the brickwork's not square. I'd normally use my little chalk marker on this. It sprays the chalk, the marksman. But it would appear that you can't get the marksman in this because it's too tight. And then I'm going to mark my cable entry hole and then get that drilled out first of all. I just want to point out quickly, I completely missed this, but the box comes with a drilling template. I could have just used that, but see, straight away I've just found something for you. Don't forget to use a drilling template if you want. I've done it the hard way. So there you go. I've got to drill this at a bit of an angle because of where the wall falls in the garage. And yes, this has proven controversial to some people, but this is my trusty Makita 240 drill. The reason I'm not using an SDS drill is I just find it's bouncy. The Makita one's just not very good for 20mm holes either. I just prefer this, and the joy of working for myself is I can use whatever I want. And we've just popped through the wall just there, which is absolutely perfect. And I haven't had to get a protractor out and do any clever sums, as we know some people do, but good for them. Sun's come out. What I have done is I've installed that 25mm stuffing gland in there, which is fine. There's plenty of room for that and still room to swoop the cable up into. So I've drilled all my holes, got the cable through temporarily. I'm just going to put this on and then just do a mark on the cable where the gland comes through, and then I know I can strip it back and then I can fix the charger to the wall. That's the order that I like to do things on. In, on, in. Another word mix up for you. I wonder how many we're going to get today. So what I do is just mark where the cable comes through the stuffing gland, then I know where to strip it back. And then I am using EV Ultra High Tough for ease of use. Don't need SWA, and it's really easy to strip. Had to buy myself a new sealant gun because I left my old one on a job somewhere, and whichever client that is has decided that it's now theirs. So thank you. Phone's going off. Sorry about that. So yeah, whatever client that is decided that my mastic gun is their now mastic gun, so thanks for that. No real need for it. So I bought myself a nice shiny cheap one. So anyway, what I like to do is before I mount the charger is just wang a load of mastic around this hole. And then get my 3 screws and my 3 little washers. Definitely going to lose these. And then mount the charger. So as you can see, the stuffing gland is done up around the EV Ultra, and not just the cores, so that's absolutely fine. And in this connector block here there's 5 terminals, and that's because it can be a 3-phase charger as well, and it's also got something called shunt protection. which we won't be using today, but it's basically there to kill all live and earthing conductors in the event of a car hitting it, but there's a great big step here, so you have to mount a step before you hit this. And I'm not sure where the CT connections are up there, so I'll have to have a look to see what connections we use for that. I'm going to work out my terminals, strip it all back, connect my CT up, and then we'll get on with some testing. So I've got my cable prepared here now. My lugs up, and these are your terminals here. You've got P1, P2, P3, so that's for your three phase. We're going into P1 for single phase, neutral and earth. And then these are your CT terminals here. Now you need like the smallest screwdriver in the world for them CT terminals. I didn't even have one small enough. I ended up getting a screwdriver with an angle grinder and just filing a corner off so I could get that done up. So make sure you've got like, I don't know, watchmaker's screwdriver set or something. So that's another tip for you if you're doing this. And also they don't have, there's 3 CT connections. That's obviously because if you're having a 3-phase supply, you can CT up all 3 phases, but they don't have like a, you know, a plus or a minus. There's no polarity diagram or on the connector block. So I'm just gonna go what we all assume, which is brown to the left, negative to the right. And then inside, got a little stuffing gland there, and that's got my CT cables connected up to the EV Ultra, ready to go. And then the CT just installed there. So I'm going to get on my dead testing now, do my live testing through the cable. I'll come back to you when I'm putting the front cover back on. I'm not going to show the testing. This isn't a how to test video. You should all know that if you're watching this and you know you're trying to install one anyway. If you're not a Sparky, by the way, do not do this job. Do not install this charger. So I just mentioned about there not being any drawings for the CT connections. Again, I didn't look. You get a little book here, tells you all about it. There's another tip for you, just look at all your kit. I'm so bad, but it still doesn't tell you the polarity, which way around to go. So I didn't lie completely. So I've done my testing through the cable, I'm happy with that. And now I'm just going to connect it up. In the manual, it specifies, well, 2 things actually. First thing, it doesn't look like there was a lot of room originally, but you can sort of like poke the cables underneath, so there's plenty of room. So I'm quite happy with that, it's not that tight. And with the terminations, it says you need to do them up to 2 Newton meters max. So I've got my torque screwdriver and we'll nip them up now. There we go. Don't forget to undo all the terminals first. I'm gonna get the lid on this now, and then we're gonna look at that installer app, because there's gonna be things in there like load balancing, and I want to turn off that random delay so I can do all my live testing through the socket as well. So I'm just going to pop this cover on and go and get some of those little screws. Just drop one. The front cover, which should just slide on somehow. Just like that. That's nice, I like that. I'll give it a bit of a clean up. That looks really nice. I'm gonna have a quick read through the manual, just make sure I haven't missed anything, and then I'll download the app and then we'll go through that. So this charger says it's got an override button, so I'm gonna plug in my EV adapter and see if I can just get on with my testing before we go down the app route. I like to leave the app till last if I can. Let's see what happens. That's promising. Good, that works. Plug in the Mega, do my live testing, do my RCD testing, and then do what I normally do, which is take photos of all of my results. So the Simpson Partners charger does have a built-in Type A RCD. However, there isn't a test button for that RCD, so the consumer is just there. I've just chucked in an RCD. At least then I can actually test, and the client can test that there is an RCD working and protecting this install. Let's try this override button. That works. The override button, there's a little button in there, I'll show you. There's a little button there, and that's the override. So rather than relying on that delay start, if you just want to get your car charging, just push the button. Or if you want to get your testing done, push the button. And that is it. All my testing is done. So I'm just going to have a tidy away of all my tools now, and then we'll go through the app. So I've downloaded the Simpson Partners app, and it says to go in the left-hand menu and go to installation menu. So we're going to go there, and here we have to install the installer pin, which I'll do now, which I'll keep secret. All we need to do is push the button, press to flash, standard charge, make sure we're within arm's reach. Okay, we're going to connect, try and connect it. So what we've got here, it's found the charger. And I'm sorry if you can't really see that, I'm doing the best I can. But it's picked up, the CT's obviously working. Do a pen test, that's passed, good. Max charge rate 32 amps. RCM test, let's test that. RCM tripped. Good, reset RCM. And what that shows is that little red neon there flashing, if you can see that. And there's a little button, so we'll push the button. That's that reset. Wi-Fi connected, disconnected. So set up the Wi-Fi features, the customer pin on the main charge point screen. Okay, so we need to connect that up with the customer. Smart home setup, what's this? Energy manager add. Oh, this is searching for a wireless device. We've got a hardwired device, so we're not worried about that. Wired energy, add. Status connected, good. There's nothing on obviously at the minute. So useful tip, press the energy manager pair button for 2 seconds to put the unit into test mode for 1 minute. In this mode, readings may be transmitted every 10 seconds. So we'll push that button then for 2 seconds. There you can see it's got 0.02 amps there, so you can see that CT clamps working, so we're happy with that. So that is my side of things done. So what I need to do now, I think, is get the customer to download the app, and then we'll connect it through the internet, connect it to the internet through his app. I don't seem to have the option there. Bearing in mind, this is like my first one I've done, so if you've installed loads of these and you're watching this and you see like I've done something wrong with this, let me know, because let's all work together. Not everyone knows everything, so I'm sure I've missed something, but that's all set up that side. Get the customer set up on the app, and then we should be there, I think. So in this little welcome pack you get for the customer, this one here, inside it, you get some instructions for the customer. On the first page, a little thank you note, very nice. And on the back it says to download the app, connect to charge point, enter your secure pin, control your charge point, and optionally connect to the Wi-Fi. So that's how we're going to connect it to the Wi-Fi, and then we're done. So I'll give you a quick run through the whole job. New consumer unit there, SPD, SPD MCB, Type A RCBO, EV Ultra ran along there, sealed that hole up, and out to the Simpson Partners charger, which is absolutely lush. As always, thank you for watching. This was just like, this is going to be basically a hardly edited video. I just want to show you what it's really like to install a new charger. This is the first Simpson Partners one I've done. The actual install side's fine. I just wanted to run through, you know, the app and the commissioning side of things really, because that's the bit that always catches people out. And hopefully, through a few of the mistakes that you've seen me make today, like not looking for instructions for the CT and some other bits and bobs I'm sure you've probably clocked, you can take that into account, so when you do it next you're going to know all that sort of stuff and you're not going to make the same mistakes. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.